The mission or purpose of my company makes me feel important is number 8, and I think that same role, Dutch Bros, then Kalispell, and then on campus. I just think, honestly, in those orders, that's my like favorite to least, which like they all have their own unique like responsibilities, and I love them all, but like I think that that's how I'd rank them. My associates or fellow employees are committed to doing quality work. I think I would honestly go Dutch Bros, then on campus, and then Kalispell. There's a little bit of like slackage at Kalispell, so it's kind of hard to like see someone who's slacking and me who's doing really good to get the same amount of pay and the same amount of like tips from each person. So I think that's really hard because you can't see myself doing super good because of that. Number 10 is I have a best friend at work, and I do at Dutch Bros. My best friend Sarah works there, and I love it so much. And then at Kalispell, my friend Ireland used to work there, but she stopped during the school year, so I'm just working there on Sundays. But my friend Sam is super supportive and super nice. And then on campus, I have gotten a lot closer to Logan on the volleyball team recently, and I think that even like me and her overlap schedules, and I think just like hanging out with her and like seeing like more of who she is really is like comforting me, and like I'm actually able to talk to someone and be like myself there. So I think that's gotten a lot better. In the last 6 months, someone at work has talked to me about my progress. At Dutch Bros, yes, I actually have a meeting with the general manager on Friday, like about moving and stuff, because I am hoping to move after graduation through and with the company, and so like hopefully that'll go good. Kalispell, yes, they like check on me a lot, especially with my schedule, my time. They're very like cautious of like how much I'm working and everything. And then on campus, it's pretty much a check-in every single time, which is so nice. And then in the last year, I've had opportunities to work, learn, and grow is number 12, and I think all 3 is a full yes, and I think that I'm in a very good spot with all my jobs, and I think everything is like going really good, which I like really, really appreciate and like understand. Sorry, those were so long. I'm not writing anything, so that's that. And so then going on to putting the 12 questions to the test, they interview all these people on a scale from 1 to 5, and then like strongly disagree, and then 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. And I think that like honestly, just like in this, like you can tell essentially by how someone is talking. So I asked all 6 people that I'm interviewing just to write a short sentence on it, and so essentially through that you can see if it's a strong or like positive environment rather than a negative environment, because you don't need to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5 to tell that a sentence is negative or positive. And so I wanted to do it more of a personal aspect, and so I did it as a sentence. And then essentially within those 3 jobs, I'm hoping actually that I could like either not like talk to the management, but essentially like if I see like a reoccurring issue within like 2 people, like I tried to do someone who's been there and then someone who's newer for each one. And so like through that, like I'm hoping that I can get a wide range of like opportunity for the company, or like, and so I think that was super good. So I think that like just through those, like it's honestly just all like linked to productivity, and then like he said, and then individual development. And essentially like if a person is really thinking negative about their job, it honestly doesn't have to be them. It could be just them with the company, and it's like you could be super good and the company could be super good, but essentially those 2 can like sometimes clash and not work well together. So essentially like with the 12, I honestly really truly would hope that if someone was like answering no to these questions, they could eventually answer yes to them in a different way and at a new job or at a new thing, because essentially all like my view of like how leadership should work is that every single person should be answering yes to every single one of those questions, or like out of 4 or 5, because like I don't know, like the environment could be super good, but also it could need more of a different kind of person. So like me, super energetic, all this stuff, like maybe an office job that's like pretty serious and like not doing that doesn't really need me in this moment. Like maybe they need more analytical, like really truly focused people, and like that isn't me right now at my moment. And so like I could be a really bad fit, but the company could be super amazing, but they need more people who are fit. And so like essentially I think that every single person is different, and so that anyone could say yes to any of them. It just depends on like where they're placed. And so I think someone could thrive in any environment, but the placement of them could be off. So I think that like really stuck out to me on like the 12, and so like just putting them to the test. And so that's really what stuck out to me about like the measuring stick and like putting the 12 to the test part. And then like a case in point part was just giving more like results and like it just like tells you like how the measuring stick is like playing out and like the role and like how you can get the Q12 to like essentially tell you where you stand, and then also tells you sorry, I lost where I was at. It could tell you where you stand, but it helps you decide what to do next. So essentially, if one question is like really, really bad, like maybe it's like, oh, I know my role in the company. So like, why are we doing bad in the role of the company? You easily could just explain people's role in the company and come out with new rules and new guidelines and really like fully dive into that and then change that fully, completely. Like it's like just knowing where you need to go. And so then on the last one, it was like mountain climbing part of chapter 1. And like why there's an order of the 12. And so I think that like it like really clears it out and like explains like base camp, camp 1, camp 2, and then camp 3, and then the summit. And so the base camp is like the first 2 questions, like what do you get? And so it's like, I know what's expected of me and I have the materials. Like essentially going into the job, you never want to be like, have no idea what those are. Like, and so like, it's essentially just climbing up a mountain, and like, if you know what those are, awesome. Like we're gonna get to the camp 1. So then what do you give? And then it's like 3, 4, 5, and 6, all those things. And so it's like, do I give what I need to give, and does someone give me what I need to receive? And so through that company, if you don't, like maybe have a talk with someone and like explain like even like your learning or your strengths, like explaining to them like what they need and what also like what I need and also what they need like from me, like essentially like using that is like a really big step. And so once you have like step 1 and step 2, then you can keep going, and then you say like the base camp, camp 1, and then you go to the camp 2, and then it's like, do I belong here? And essentially if they know and you have your strong like community, like does your community like fully listen to you and engage with you and like want to be with you? And like if that's then a no, like okay, like why? And so then I love how it just like explains this whole step process, because it really like truly shows me like sometimes like where it could go wrong. So like I worked at McDonald's, and like I knew essentially what I was expected of, but I also got trained at a different store. And so like I could see myself like as we were training people, I could for sure tell like the training was off. The first, like the base camp and the first camp, like off. Like no one could figure this out. Like no one knew where they're at, where their role was, like all this stuff. So I think it's just interesting to see like how much of a difference each environment is. And so then the camp 3 is like how we can grow. And so just like based off growing, and like if you know like who you are, who you belong with, if you're heard in the company, if you really like matter and you have an opinion, like there's so many things, but if like you honestly pass all those steps, like you're fully at the like last camp and you can like fully reach the summit, which is like your full potential, full best, moving up in the company. And I just think like that's truly just like how any single job works, which is like weird because I've never like really heard this before, but it makes so much sense just going into it and like receiving it. And so like just through that, it's like you can focus on that and then focus on like the management part of it. Even as an employee, like honestly really step into the employee's shoes and like take it from their side, like interviewing, like all this stuff. So as like you focus, like as a manager, you can flip it into the employee side, and the employee side can honestly fit into the manager. And so I think it could go both way around. So I really enjoyed the first chapter, and I am really excited on what's to come because the first chapter was really good. Sorry this was such a long video. I just had a lot to say, and I also explained like my part of the Q12 with all 3 jobs, which took a while. But thank you, and that was chapter 1.